NCBI Labs.
So it's good to be back with you again this week. We're gradually making our way through this second lockdown, and your NCBI Labs live events team are here with you again, as always, to talk about the accessible technology that makes a real difference. And as always, we have a really interesting program lined up for you today. A little bit later on, we're going to be hearing from Martin Lawlor about his experience of sight loss and how technology has helped him in our regular Seeing It Your Way piece. So that's a little bit later on in the show. But before that, we're going to be also talking about a great innovation called NaviLens. A really useful way to use your phone to get information about the environment around you. And we're going to be talking to the CEO of NaviLens, Javier Pita Lozano, to stick around for that, and we'll be talking to Javier in just a few minutes' time. Of course, we're going to be covering some quick tips for the technology you regularly use as well, and answering any questions that you have throughout the show as well. So get your emails into labs@ncbi.ie if you'd like a little bit of support, or if you have any questions or a comment, or you want to just give us a bit of feedback, or you can use the Q&A panel as well on the right hand side of the screen. Now, before we get into some of the rest of the subjects for the show today, we're actually going to start this week, as you've probably got used to, with our Meet the Team piece this week. And we have Mary Byrne in the spotlight this week. You're very welcome, Mary.
Thanks, Jude, and well done on all the live events to date.
That's amazing that we're already on live event 24, isn't it? It's incredible. So just to start us off, Mary, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into what you're doing in work.
Ooh, okay. I'd like to think, and I do usually say to people, that I'm still 30 and living the life of a 30-year-old, but it doesn't add up, I guess, really, when you put everything together. I'm
trying carefully not to laugh. Your laughing will be a dangerous thing for me to do right now, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay, we won't go there. I am the mum of two. I have a boy in national school, and I have a daughter who just started in third level. So between them and my husband and work, I guess that's my life at the moment, like everyone else. A bit of a banker, a chef, taxi, nurse. I'm originally from Galway. I played some sport along the way, but I guess just life's got too busy, and my focus goes on everything else. But then again, I suppose, look, it is nice to be able to use all that in my job too, because I can understand and see the difficulties that parents have on a day-to-day with trying to rotate everything and go with everything, you know.
I noticed you didn't mention anything about X Factor there, so you're telling me you're not the same Mary Byrne who was on X Factor a few years ago.
Can I pretend?
I actually might ask you for a demonstration if you do claim to be the same Mary Byrne.
Well, actually, it is funny, because if you know, there have been occasions since Mary Byrne, or the Mary Byrne, won the X Factor. I leave messages for people. I have been asked sometimes, by any chance, can you sing? But no, I can't, unfortunately.
And would you mind giving us a demonstration now? No? Oh, maybe we can't get away with that.
Well, it could end the meeting very quickly.
Very good. So let's just have a think about, before this goes completely off the rails, let's have a think about what you're doing in your work with NCBI then. Have you been with NCBI long?
Yeah, this is where it won't add up, because actually I'm with NCBI, believe it, over 20 years now. We'll say over 20 years, just. Yeah, I'm with them a long time, worked in a few different roles, but currently work with the children and the young persons team, and I'm based in the Tala office.
Very good. So tell us a little bit about what that role involves then.
Oh gosh, all right. The role itself is diverse, and no two days are ever the same. It can be very challenging, but definitely a rewarding role. I would work very closely with members of my team to support young people up to the age of 23 in education in many different areas like independent living skills, mobility, advocacy, and then of course my own area of AT. Within the role, I would collaborate with students and parents, NCSE staff and schools. So collaboration really, it would be required because sometimes a range of solutions may be needed. And of course, as we all know, working together will give the best outcomes for the student.
Yeah.
I would meet with students, assess their technology skill set, their requirements, identify the tasks in hand, issues that they're having. And as part of the process, then I would demonstrate various devices to them, organise trials of the equipment. And of course, very important is that the student is part of that decision making. So we would work with them along that.
Yeah.
And I guess, assistive technologies, we know it provides access to learn, but I would support the student to learn to access. So helping them to use their equipment in the most efficient way, so that they can compete really with their sighted peers. And assistive technology, as we know, again, is for work, rest and play. Education being the work and the most significant part, but the play is more attractive to most of the younger students and the motivator too. So I would be involved in supporting things like their phones, finding suitable apps, or maybe they have devices already at home. For example, a family iPad or a tablet. They might find it difficult to use and then get frustrated, may not want to engage with it, suffer eye fatigue because they can't see it. And, if only the correct accessibility features suitable for their individual needs were enabled on the device, a little training and support given to them, it could be more reliable and engaging for them.
So it is quite a broad kind of role that you're involved in.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine just from what you were saying there, like even the idea of meeting with students and assessing them, the COVID kind of situation must have impacted the way you interact with students quite a lot.
But you look, we know literally overnight we had to change the way we engaged and supported students and their families. Our services are still open, of course, but to protect each other, things are a little bit different, When I think back really as part of the Department of Education and Skills Summer Provision Scheme for primary school students, the Children and the Young Persons team delivered over 90 virtual AT intervention for your group and one-to-one sessions this summer. So that was huge.
Yeah, that is an incredible amount of work.
Yeah. No, it was all teamwork, and it was very hands-on. And for me, I guess it's a lot more virtual link-ins, and it's working very well. Younger children, I suppose, are a lot more comfortable in their own home environment. Personally, I do miss that face-to-face aspect of my job, though, I must admit.
Yeah.
But, on a very positive side, parents are learning too, because they're sitting in on the virtual sessions. So it's instilling confidence in them. And they feel better able to support their children at home, which is great.
That's actually quite interesting just to hear that side of it as well, because I think sometimes we're trying to kind of keep looking at the positives from it. And there are actually some very meaningful positives that's come from the way that work has adapted over the last number of months, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It's I suppose it's a relaxed learning too, which is very good, And it's lovely to see the students learning at their own pace. A little bit of encouragement can give so much, that the younger child especially, they don't realise the importance of technology. So linking in early is really beneficial. So they get to learn in a very fun way. And as they get older then, it's great to hear their feedback. They'll tell us tips, the way they do things, solutions they find for themselves, and then we share that on with others as well.
That's brilliant. The way that the whole kind of cycle works is really good. So tell me something, Mary. Are you working on anything in particular at the moment?
Yeah, we're currently continuing with delivering tailor-made classes along with other colleagues in my team. There's currently classes going on at the moment on PowerPoint and file management, accessibility features, gestures, training required on any specific device that's required really. Some of them them will be done in group settings, and group settings are great for students because it provides them for the opportunity to link in and share tips, have an out chat,
Yes,
while learning.
yeah.
But we also know that, there's one-to-one support required for some students that may need that. So we'd adapt some learning specific tasks for that student. Most are done virtually. There's also information sessions scheduled for parents as well, where support and advice will be given on assistive technology. It's new learning really and new experiences for us all. But I'm actually smiling here to myself, Jude, when I think of the creativity. Yeah, I'm thinking of the creativity really of my colleagues when delivering these virtual sessions. It's all new learning, and it can't be all just learning and no fun. So I suppose really what I'll say is that let's just say that there's some very good dancers and very good singers on our team that I never knew existed before.
Oh my goodness, that's the sort of thing you can't say on a show like this, Mary, and expect me not to ask, who are you talking about here?
No, we won't name names, but they'll know who they are. And you're going to have to come on one of them to see who I'm talking about.
It's Daniel.
It must be.
Daniel's a pretty good dancer,
Great. We'll be getting Daniel working on a dancing piece for one of our live events. So in that case,
you should put him on virtually. Let him be seen.
Absolutely, yeah, brilliant, very good. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Mary. It's been great to hear some of the work that's going on in the children's team there as well, and hope everything works out for the things that are in development at the moment. It certainly sounds like a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, and Jude, can I just, I suppose, if there's any parent listening to this that they would like any support, ask them to link in, contact Margaret Bousquet, who is the coordinator, and she can give them all further details on the programme of events and what they might like to sign up for.
Brilliant. Very good. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Mary, and all the best with that as well. And if anybody is interested in that, as Mary says, you can contact somebody locally if you need to as well, and they can give you the information. If you want to get, if you're kind of maybe short of a pen and paper to write down names to contact at the moment, you can always listen back to our live event, of course, on YouTube or the podcasts as well, and be able to get that information again. So thanks a lot, Mary.
Thanks, Jude. Best of luck.
So as Mary Byrne breathes a sigh of relief, we're going to move on with the rest of our show now. And we're going to move on to a really interesting subject now. We're going to talk about NaviLens. And to talk to us about that, we're delighted to have with us this week the CEO of NaviLens, Javier Pita Lozano. You're very welcome to the show, Javier.
Hi, good afternoon.
Really good to have you join us. I hope I'm saying your name right.
Yes, it's perfect. Your Spanish pronunciation is perfect. better than my English pronunciation.
Well, apologies if I stumble over it once or twice.
Don't worry.
Very good. So great to have you with us, Javier. Can you tell us just a little bit about what NaviLens is, what it does?
Yes, of course. Well, thank you so much to make me able to share this experience with you. In NaviLens project, we are working on NaviLens project since 2012, and we are putting all our passion in this project, okay? And we are very excited to share with you today in the NCBI, okay? So the NaviLens is a new kind of QR code that can be read up 20 meters far away and without focusing, okay? So the idea is, in the beginning of our project, our research project, we see a problem, an issue that all people with sight loss, especially blind, have. That the people with sight loss are not completely independent in unknown spaces, especially indoors. Imagine, for example, subway, metro, train station, hospitals, spaces like this. And we saw that one of the reasons was that the thing is that it was not possible to read the signage indication. There are signage everywhere, okay? Signage in all the buildings, in the metro, train stations, and all the facilities. And we thought, okay, why don't create something that could be read by the camera of a mobile phone put this on the signage in order to read it. Okay, and after 5 years of research and development, looking for a QR code that can be read it, because you know perfectly well that the QR code is something that is difficult to read, because you need to know where the QR code is. Okay, so after 5 years of a very intensive research and development with the University of Alicante, we achieved a code that is very similar to the QR code, but we are using colors. But the important thing is that the code can be scanned without need to focus or frame it, and from a very long distance, more than 20 meters far away. And that is, in summarize, the NaviLens code.
Yeah, very good. And that's interesting just to hear the kind of the needs that drove the development of NaviLens as well, as kind of an important background for us to have. We'll come back to some of the features in just a moment of all the things that NaviLens can actually do, but maybe just to get an idea of one of the ways that it works. You mentioned there about public transport and about being able to see this code at a distance. We're actually just going to have a look at a brief video just to give a bit of a sense of how NaviLens can be used for that.
Yes, of course. The first implementation was in the Barcelona transit system. Okay, in two places, in the bus stops and in the subway station. In the bus stops, you know that the GPS is very useful, okay, in general for the visually impaired community. But the problem is that the GPS is not accurate enough sometimes, okay? So the problem with the GPS is that there is an error around 3 meters, 5 meters, and with the presence of skyscrapers or tall or high buildings, the signal of the GPS is blocked, okay? So the thing is, people with sighted people can rely in the GPS plus the revision in order to locate where exactly is the bus stop. Okay, but the problem for the community is that this last few meters, okay, gap is a very important issue. Okay, sometimes. So Barcelona Transit Authority implement the NaviLens code on the bus stop. That is as simple as to put like a vinyl in the bus stop, and this code can be detected 20 meters far away. Okay, so the idea is in Barcelona, all transit users can go with the GPS nearly to the vicinity to the bus stop, and in the last few meters use NaviLens code in order to locate. If you want, we can make a real life demo. Okay, because I have right now a bus stop in Barcelona. Okay, and I'm going to. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. And we will live. We trust a lot in our technology. Okay, so I'm seeing a Barcelona bus stop from a very long distance in my screen. Okay, and I'm going to open NaviLens, put the phone over my chest and the camera outside in order to detect the NaviLens code. Okay. So we're going to do it. Okay, so I'm going to open.
2.50 meters away, Barcelona bus stop, Gran Via Plaza España, upcoming arrivals, line 52 KL Catalunya 2 minutes, line 13 Mercat San Antoni 3 minutes, line H12 Besos, left, 3 meters, left, 2 meters.
Okay, have you heard, yes, have you heard that the application has told me that there is a bus stop at 2 meters far away? Okay, in this case, I have a very, okay. So in that case, the system is guiding me exactly to the position of the bus stop and offering me the real-time information. This is real-time. This is the real-time of buses approaching to this particular bus stop.
Brilliant.
Okay?
Yeah, very good.
So that combination between the distance plus, very important, the direction, that is the important thing, okay, that allow to the people with sight loss in order to check that where exactly is located the bus stop, and to check if it is the correct bus stop, because sometimes you have 2 or 3 bus stops very closely with different routes. Okay. And
yes. Yeah. I think that's really a good demonstration for people to hear how much information you get just from basically all you did there was just hold up your phone with the NaviLens app on it. Was that right?
Yes. Yes. I opened NaviLens in simulating that we are nearly to the bus stop, and the camera is capturing the code, and delivering this information for the user. And this is the incredible thing, because it's super simple. Don't need to have special gadgets, cameras or something like that. Only the mobile phone that all the users have in their pocket, And the thing is, for the operation, for Barcelona Transit Authority of New York, or Lily Metro, or so many operations that we are very delighted that they are using the NaviLens code. The thing is making more accessible a bus stop in this case, or a train station that we can talk later. It's as simple as to add a piece of paper. Is vinyl, but in general, it's a piece of paper on the signage on the bus stop, and as simple as that, the bus stop or the entrance and a stair and elevator is visible, for the people with sight loss,
Brilliant.
And this is incredible. And another thing is, we are scanning a bus stop in Barcelona, but we are from Spain, and Barcelona is in Catalonia, obviously,
Yeah.
The signage information in Barcelona TNV is in Spanish, but you have heard the information in English.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
Because the NaviLens technology helps in order to make more accessible the information, translating the information to 33 languages, obviously including the English, but Japanese, Vietnamese, German, French, and others languages.
So does that take the language just from whatever language your phone is set up in? Is that it?
Yes. As simple as that. We like a lot to make things simple. So if your mobile phone is in English, you are going to receive the information in English. And this is super, super important for all the use cases that we are applying.
Really good. So nobody has to actually do anything to set that up. That's really good. What we might do, Javier, is we'll just take a second to have a look at a video here that we have. And it's on the NaviLens YouTube site as well, if somebody wants to see this again afterwards. But it's just kind of reinforcing that same idea that Javier has mentioned there. We're going to look at the NaviLens code being used in a tram stop.
Hello, welcome to beautiful and hot Murcia, Spain. So right now we are at a tram stop, a tranvía stop, and as you can see, this is one of our forms of public transportation. But what happens if you are somebody that doesn't have great vision, or perhaps that is blind? How would they navigate this situation? How would they navigate this form of transportation? So you can see on this side, the Braille still exists, right? But you can see it's rusty, it looks like it's missing parts. So this, for somebody who's coming to the tram for the first time, who has low or no vision, this is gonna be not super useful. So what we have done at Neosystic is we have created a cutting-edge form of technology that streamlines this process of catching the tranvía. It makes it so much less intimidating and so much easier for somebody with low or no vision, right? So if you look here, we've created what's called a BIDI code. What this is it's kind of a fancy QR code, right? So QR codes, barcodes, they were created in the last century. So what we've done at Neosystic in the last 5 years is we have perfected this code, making it so much easier to navigate. So what somebody's going to do is they're simply going to use their iPhone or their phone of any sort, right? And they're going to use it as kind of a guide. And they're going to use it to look at this sticker, right? Now, the beauty of this sticker is that it is just 8 inches big. And it can be read from up to 40 feet away.
12,69 meters. Tram stop at Nairobi.
Right, so that's amazing. And in this 40 feet, it can be read at up to 160 degrees of angle. It can be read in low light situations. It doesn't have to be super bright, right? So we've designed it to be really easy, really user-friendly, right? So let's say this person with low or no vision is looking for this tag. They don't know where it is exactly, right? So we'll actually guide the person to where the sticker's at.
right, 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 front, left, 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 left. Access door to the tram.
So we are really pleased and really excited about this new technology, and we're really excited to share it with you all. Thank you.
So that's really, really interesting just to be able to see that video as well. And that really reinforces just what you were mentioning there, Javier, about how useful it is at a distance as well. I noticed on the video, and also you mentioned it yourself there, that one of the kind of key differences to at least to the first time observer of the NaviLens code is the use of color. Is that important? Is that part of what makes the whole thing work so well?
Very, very good question. So yes, the thing is QR codes and barcodes, but QR codes use black and white. Okay, that is the reason that the QR code you see it and you see a succession of black and white dots. The thing is in a computer, this is interpreted like a 1, a 0, or 0. Okay, it's binary. Okay.
Yeah.
But we are using colors. And instead of use only 0 or 1, okay, activate or no, okay, black and white, we are using 4 different colors: blue, cyan, magenta, and black. And doing that, we are using 4 times more combination, for each tile than the QR code. And the using of the colors help us to use bigger tiles inside the code, bigger than the QR code, and that is one of the reasons that we can detect the code so far away. That is the main advantage for the application of NaviLens applied on the product that we have launched in order to make visible assets with the camera and the mobile phone from a long distance. Okay, so the using of the colors is so important. And the second thing is the colors help to create the capability to read the code up 160 degrees, and this is another very important feature. In the video of the tram of Murcia that you have played, the last experience of the user was detecting where exactly is the door to the tram. Meanwhile, the tram is coming to the station, okay, and the user can know exactly where is the door before the train is stopping totally, because the code can be read in movement, okay, in blue, okay. So and the color is super important for that.
Very good. That's really interesting, and that will have come across loud and clear in the video there, where we heard those directions to go left, left, and then straight in front was the access to the tram. So really interesting just to see how that works and the importance of color in that. What happens in a public space if you're in an area where these NaviLens codes are widely used, and there's maybe 5 or 6 of those codes within the kind of camera frame, if you like? Does that confuse the app?
Very good question. Another very good question. Thank you so much. The NaviLens, okay, is very similar to the people that using their vision, their eyes. Okay, so if the NaviLens translate to the user the information about that there is 2, 3, 4, 5 or more elements, okay, in the camera. Okay, so I have here an example with some situation that is very usual, like in a men's toilet and ladies toilet. Okay, usually you need to distinguish between where exactly is the door for men and for ladies, okay, or gentlemen or ladies. Okay, so I have here 2 codes that are super close one with another, and I'm going to again open NaviLens in real time and look at, as I hold my mobile phone over the chest, and the camera will detect the codes. Okay, so
1 of 2, 1 meter away, 1 of 2, 1.50 meters away, ladies toilet.
Okay, have you heard 1 of 2? Okay, female toilet. Okay, so the thing is, the system is informing to the user that there is 2, and how to discover where exactly is one or the other. Okay, it's difficult to transmit this feeling in an audio. Okay, but the thing is, with the haptic response that we have configured in NaviLens, if you slightly move the mobile phone to the left or to the right, when you have the code more centered, the second one, for example, in this case, the system was informing a bit about the ladies' toilet, okay? But there are another code, okay? So if I slightly move the mobile phone, in the moment that the other code will be more centered with the camera, that means that is in front of you, we are going to receive that information, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate for you. One moment, again. First, I'm going to see the ladies' toilet, and after that, I'm going to move to the left the mobile phone in order to discover what is the other, okay, code, what is the element that the system is informing me, okay?
Yeah. 1 meter away, ladies' toilet, to front, 1 of 2, 1.50 meters away, men's toilet, to front.
So the thing is, I with NaviLens it worked at 30 frames per second. Okay, we have a computer vision algorithm that works at 30 frames per second, and only one frame. Okay, we captured different codes, and we can deliver to the user exactly all the information in an incredible speed. Okay. So the system is going to inform us what we have more centered and warning us that there are 2, 3, or 4, or 5 codes. That is so amazing. It's the same behavior that the sighted people do. Okay, when they see the male toilet signage and the female, we are moving the eyes in order to see one or another. But this is the same with NaviLens, but with the camera of the mobile.
Very good. It's great that you can get that kind of feedback to be able to understand when there's more than one element there and to be able to get the information from it. So that's really good. Tell us something. How widely used are the NaviLens codes at the moment? So you mentioned Barcelona has the codes in public. Some of the videos we have are other places around Spain or Catalonia. Where else is using these codes at the moment?
Perfect. NaviLens code, the NaviLens technology was launched 2 years and a half. 2 years and a half. Okay, in the March of 2018. And the clever thing is that in this time, the code has been implemented in a lot of places. And the reason is that implement the technology is as easy as to print the code and to put in the asset, okay? So in Barcelona, all the 2,400 bus stops have the NaviLens codes. All the 159 subway stations have technology, okay? And the reason that we started with transit, in general, we focused on transit because mobility is so important for the sight loss community, okay? Yeah. So we centered in transit, and after Barcelona, new implementation in transit, like the biggest train station in Spain, in Madrid, Atocha, the high speed velocity, in the buses in Murcia, buses of Alicante, in New York, in the J Street Metro Train station. We are very proud. European technology in the core of New York City. In New York, recently in the bus stop as well, LA Metro, Union Station, and that is super huge. And we have implemented the NaviLens code in other spaces, like, for example, museums. There are a lot of implementation in museums because, first, it's a challenge for people with sight loss to visit alone a museum. Sometimes, for example, here in Spain, it's required to make an appointment in order to form a group. Okay, well, this is pre-COVID, okay? Pre-situation of the COVID. A group in order to visit the museum. So a lot of museums has implemented the NaviLens code for helping the people with sight loss in order to navigate indoors in the facility, in order to exactly know where is the artifact, the art piece, okay, of the museum, and the same code delivering like a multimedia guide for people with with side vision. Okay, so and after the museums, we have some public buildings, and very recently we have implemented on the street signage of the cities. That is very interesting because in the same problem with the GPS is not accurate enough in so many places, and we implemented in the signage this. So we are very, very happy because it's super easy to implement the NaviLens code on the facilities. Okay, that is the reason that the technology is being implemented in a lot of places. And very important to say, sorry, I want to transmit everything. Okay, in order to your audience. Okay, sorry for that. The thing is, we are like a small startup of 15 people working on this project full time. Okay. Yeah. And we are very delighted. We are putting all our passion in order to make this available worldwide. Okay. But the thing is, as we are a startup, we have launched some NaviLens code that are free, for example, for schools and associations that can be downloaded at http free.navilens.com. At any school, any association of the world can download pre-recorded NaviLens code with the usual places inside the school. For example, math classroom, okay, male toilet, female toilet, okay, principal's office, something like that. And any space can download it, print, put on the space, and use the NaviLens technology. So a lot of schools in the world have downloaded this kind of codes, and we are having a lot of schools and associations with this technology.
Yeah, very good. So just to be clear, just if there is somebody who's thinking, okay, this sounds brilliant, I'd like my own building, my own sort of place of business or anything like that to be accessible, or if there's people who are involved in even public transport, like you mentioned there, how would they go about getting, you mentioned there just having the code generated and being able to print it out and put it up, but do they need to get in touch with you at any point to be able to actually get that code generated, or is that all automated?
There is three kind of uses of the NaviLens technology. Okay. Well, first, our main objective is that the technology will be free, always free for the final users, always. Okay. This is, we have this right on our heart. Okay. Yes. So, something like that. Okay. So the thing is, right now, if we begin from the users. Okay. All the users can download NaviLens app, and inside the app, download personal codes. Well, we are going to talk in a little bit, okay? I think, okay. And the second stage is the NaviLens code with pre-recorded information, like the schools and association. Yes. That the school can download it for free. This code on free.navilens.com. Okay. And the third is professional venues like transit agencies, public buildings, and something like that. Okay. Yeah. This is the business model that, in the same way that the subway station, train station pays for signage, when they put signage inside the station, they contact us. And we offer the account in order to generate the codes, okay? And they can create the content, okay, for that particular station or public building, okay? So that is the three stages or three different uses of the NaviLens code, depending on the use case.
Excellent. That's really, really useful. So if anybody wants those, there's those kind of different ways that people can get those different codes. Now, we're just going to talk for a few minutes. We've just got maybe 5 or 6 minutes left on this, Javier. So what we might do is we'll just kind of mention to people that there are plenty of videos on the NaviLens YouTube site as well, if you want to see videos of how NaviLens is used. And one of the videos, we won't just show it here at the moment, but it's just to do with how personal tags or personal codes are used. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about the personal codes, Javier?
Yes, the personal codes are the way that all the users can download the NaviLens application, and inside they can download the personal codes, the personal tags. Okay, so this is any person can download these codes and write information on its codes for domestic uses. For example, imagine tag food Tupperwares. Like, for example, in here, Spanish omelette, lentils, something like that. Okay, so it's possible to download the codes. Okay, cut the codes, and as simple as to add to the Tupperwares or to tag folders, boxes, clothes. Okay, for example, we have received some feedback from the user that is tagging bonsais. Bonsais is correct in English. The small tree of Japanese. Okay, that you cut.
Oh yes,
cut.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so a collection of bonsais in order to identify or something like that. Okay,
interesting.
Yes, and we have launched a new feature that is called Family and Friends. Family and Friends is the ability to share these personal annotations linked to the personal codes. Like, for example, Spanish omelette, in order that if you live with your couple, okay, and you store the Spanish omelette, okay, I'm Spanish, okay, I need to make some publicity of our perspective.
You'll be making everybody regret that we can't travel at the moment, have you?
Yes. Okay, so the thing is, if you put and you write information, this is a Spanish, a very good Spanish omelette, okay, that I put here, okay, and you put on the fridge, you can share your personal annotation with your couple or friends, okay, in order that when they are going to detect this, we are going to her, Javier wrote Spanish omelette, okay? And the thing is, you can collaborate with the content in your tags, making an incredible features. For example, people living in the same apartment, like students and something like that, okay? So this is the NaviLens code for personal use that all the users can use for free and download it, NaviLens app.
So I could go onto the NaviLens app, request these codes, print them out, and then tag them anywhere around the house that I want to identify something or give a bit of information back. And I just use my phone with NaviLens on it, hold it up to something, and it'll give me that information back.
Yes.
Brilliant.
That is, you can write and you can update the information at any time that you want. That is super funny, okay? And the thing is, we are so I don't know what is the word. I'm searching here. In Spanish, is comprometidos. We are so commitment with the independency and autonomously of the users that until we didn't find a way to cut the codes independently, okay, that you have some videos on YouTube telling how to extract the codes independently, we didn't launch this feature. So, this is a very, very good feature for the users applied in a lot of use cases.
Yeah, very good. So it certainly sounds like a really kind of wide-ranging technology that can be used in so many different situations. It sounds brilliant. If somebody wants to try it out for themselves, that app, the NaviLens app, is available on the App Store for Apple, and it's available on Android as well. Is that right?
Yes, of course, both platforms.
Excellent. Very good. Well, that's been brilliant to get a bit of an idea of the NaviLens app, Javier. We really appreciate you coming onto the show today to talk to us about that, and we look forward to seeing how people make use of it here in Ireland as well.
Okay, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk about NaviLens, and please, any feedback, we are always hearing the community, okay? So please send us one email at info@navilens.com, if you or your users have any question, any recommendation, anything, okay, because we are very open even to improve NaviLens as the new features that we are going to launch very, very soon. Thank you so much for your time and the opportunity that you give us.
Thank you very much for joining us today. So that was the NaviLens app, and that was Javier Pita Lozano. And again, I hope I said the name right.
Perfect.
And that was great to talk about the NaviLens app. Really kind of exciting development there as well, and one that I'm sure that a lot of people will want to be trying out. Just a reminder to everyone who's listening that our live events are posted on YouTube and to all the major podcast platforms. So if you want to listen back to that segment on NaviLens or on any of the content that we've covered in our live events, well, that's where you'll be able to get them. So now we're going to move on to our quick tips this week. Of course, we'll be listening to our Seeing It Your Way piece in just a moment. But before that, let's just have a think of a couple of particular quick tips that we can think about this week. First up, quite a useful one regarding settings or setting up an Alexa device. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Sean?
Yeah, just speaking to people recently, and like they weren't aware that you can go to on your web browser on like your home computer or laptop to alexa.amazon.co.uk and log in with your Amazon details there, and that's basically the Alexa app on your browser, and that allows JAWS users who maybe don't have a smartphone, or even just not sighted users who don't have a smartphone, access to setting up an Alexa and configuring an Alexa.
Brilliant. So that's a really handy one. Now, there's the slight drawback with that, isn't there? That if somebody's assisting you using your internet connection, maybe to connect in to help you, that might be a bit of a drawback with that. But
yeah, when you're setting up the Alexa, like if someone's in with TeamViewer, or you don't know, even if you're setting up yourself, you don't know how to access your internet settings, because when you set up an Alexa, what you have to do is you have to then go to your internet settings and connect to that as if that was your internet. So like what a JAWS user would press Windows B to go to the notification area, right arrow over to their internet connection settings, and then from there then you'd pick the Alexa device that you're configuring. Then that would communicate to the computer and to the into Amazon which app you're setting up, or sorry, which device you're setting up, and then you'd switch back to your normal home Wi-Fi to finish off the setup. So it's just that one little thing that you have to know how to do. Either, and if someone's helping you remotely, like through TeamViewer, they'll be cut off from helping you from that section. So you have to know the steps from switching from one connection to the other on your internet.
Yeah, very good. So once you know that, it's a relatively straightforward process. Other than that,
yeah,
very good. Very good. So that's a really useful one if you're wanting to set up the Alexa device. Now, for our second tip, we're going to go over to JP. Tell us about our second tip this week.
Yeah, hi Jude. Yeah, that's right. So the second tip is to do with creating a shutdown shortcut on your desktop. I think a lot of people listening in will be familiar with different keyboard shortcuts that we can use to shut down your computer. So we can go to the desktop pressing Windows and D, we can press Alt F4, and we can press Enter and shut down, or we can down arrow to restart or switch user and so forth. Another option, of course, is to press Windows and X followed by U twice, and that's also what we can do to shut down the computer. But another option is to create a shutdown shortcut on your desktop. And I put together a short video which we can play in a moment just to demonstrate how this can be set up using keyboard shortcuts with the NVDA screen reader running. And probably worth pointing out just before we play it, it is a useful feature, so it's a quick, easy way to shut down your computer. But worth pointing out that wouldn't be advising people to use this all the time. The reason being is that you may not be able to install certain pending updates or certain updates that may be pending on your computer. But absolutely, if you want to use it kind of just from time to time, it could be, as I say, a quick, easy way to shut it down.
Great. Yeah, very good. And good to just have that extra bit of information. It's like shutting down your computer but not accepting updates.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have any files open or any applications running, the computer won't shut down until they're closed. So that's worth pointing out as well. But yeah, it's a quick, easy way to shut it down if you need to. I think we're going to play a video shortly just to demonstrate it.
Hi everyone, so in this quick tech tip we're going to be covering how to create a shutdown icon on your desktop in Windows, and I'm going to be doing this using keyboard shortcuts using the NVDA screen reader. Now of course we can use keyboard shortcuts to shut down our computer too. So for example, we can go to the desktop pressing Windows and D, and then we can press Alt and F4 to bring up the shutdown Windows dialog.
Shutdown Windows dialog closes all apps and turns off the PC. What do you want the computer to do? Combo box shutdown collapsed Alt plus W.
And from here we have the option to press Enter to shut down the computer, or arrow down once.
Restart.
And press Enter to restart it. Another option, if I close this by pressing Escape.
Desktop list. Recycle bin not selected 1 of 20.
Is to press Windows and X followed by U twice. Windows and X.
Context menu.
By U.
Sign out I.
Now, if I were to press U again, I'd shut down my computer. But I don't want to do this now, so I'm going to press Escape to close it and go back to the desktop.
Shut desktop list. Recycle bin not selected 1 of 20.
So these are really handy keyboard shortcuts to shut down your computer or to start it. But having a shutdown icon on your desktop can provide you with an even faster way to shut down your computer. So let's take a look at how we can set this up. The first thing we need to do is press the Windows key and D to go to your desktop. The next thing we need to do is press Shift and F10 or the Applications key to open up the desktop menu.
Context menu.
Just to point out that you may need to press Control and Spacebar if necessary to unselect an icon on your desktop if one is selected. Now at this point we need to arrow down to New.
Sort, refresh, paste, open, new submenu W.
Press Enter.
Folder F.
Arrow down to Shortcut and press Enter.
Shortcut S. Create shortcut. Type the location of the item. Edit Alt plus T blank.
And now we are in the Create Shortcut window, which contains the message, type the location of the item. So it's here that we need to enter the shortcut command. Now, I have this command saved in a Word document on my desktop, which I'm going to open now by pressing Windows and D, and T for Table of Shortcut Commands.
Folder view list T. Table of shortcut commands 3 of 21.
So there's the Word document I need. I'm going to press Enter to open it.
Opening work table of shortcut commands Word. Microsoft Word document edit multi-line table with 6 rows and 2 columns, level 1 row 1 column 1 page 1 section 1 shortcut.
So here is a list of commands that I can use on my computer to create shortcuts to, for example, shut it down, restart it, set it to sleep, hibernate or lock it. But the one I'm interested in is the create shutdown command. So I'm going to highlight this, copy it to my clipboard, and then paste it into the Create Shortcut window. So I press Control and C to copy the command.
Copy.
Alt and Tab to go to my Create Shortcut window.
Create shortcut. Type the location of the item. Edit Alt plus T blank.
And then paste the command into the edit box. Next thing to do is press Enter.
Type a name for this shortcut. Edit Alt plus T selected shutdown.
So the next step is to type a name for the new shortcut. Now by default, shutdown appears, so I don't need to make any changes. I can just press Enter.
Table of shortcut commands work.
So now your new shortcut icon will appear on the desktop. So the next thing I need to do is press Windows and D.
Folder view list. Table of shortcut commands 3 of 21.
And then press S for the shutdown icon.
S. Shutdown 21 of 21.
Now, whenever I press Enter on this icon, my computer will shut down instantly. Of course, it's important to remember to save any files that you're working on before you do select this. Now, as I mentioned earlier, in addition to shutdown, there are several other shortcut icons you can create on your desktop to, for example, restart or lock your computer. And the good news is that you don't have to sacrifice one shortcut to have another, so you can create as many as you like. The steps are the same as those we've covered a moment ago, except you enter different commands for each shortcut. So if you'd like a table of the different available commands you can use on your computer to create shortcut icons for shutdown, restart, sleep, hibernate, and so forth, you can just send an email to labs@ncbi.ie and we'll send you that information. So that's how you can create a shutdown icon on your desktop, and thanks very much for watching.
Very good. So thanks very much to JP and to Sean for this week's quick tips, and we'll hear more quick tips from the team next week as well. If you've any particular platform that you like to use and you'd like to hear some quick tips for that particular platform, then please do get in touch and let us know, and we'll try and formulate some quick tips for the platforms that are most useful to you. Now, a couple of weeks ago, you might remember that on our Meet the Team piece, we had Miriam Kelly with us. Well, this week, Miriam Kelly goes from interviewee to interviewer as she talks to NCBI service user Martin Lawlor on how technology has impacted his life in this week's Seeing It Your Way piece.
Everyone, this is Miriam Kelly, and I am delighted to welcome our guest today for the Seeing It Your Way part of the NCBI Technology Live event. In this part of the show, our guest tells us about how technology supports them in their sight loss, often sharing the tips and advice of what worked or maybe didn't work for them. I met today's guest shortly after joining NCBI, and over the years, I've had the privilege of being involved in the evolution of his technical journey. Would you please join me in a warm welcome to Martin Lawlor. Martin, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Marion, for having me on. Delighted to be here.
It's lovely to have you on, Martin. And as I said in the introduction, I met you shortly after joining the NCBI. But for the listeners who don't know you, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I will indeed. So, Miriam, I'm totally blind since birth, and I'm from Carrow originally, but now living in Dublin, in Clontarf with my wife, Carissa. And my journey on technology, as I said, I got a lot of training from yourself when you started off in NCBI in 2011. And,
you have a good memory, Martin.
Yeah. So my first training with you was on the Windows laptop, my computer Windows, which I used JAWS as a screen reader. And JAWS reads everything back to you. So I got a lot of training from yourself, and then just progressed on with technology, whereas I tried a few different gadgets. And
can you remember what your first piece of technology was, Martin?
Yeah, my first piece was the Victor Reader Stream. I got that in 2009, and
what is that? Can you describe what that is?
So the Victor Reader Stream is an MP3 player that speaks, and it has tactile buttons, and it can read audio books, text files. You can put music on it. So it's an MP3 player that speaks everything out. And to use it, you have to have an SD card with it. And once you put the stuff onto your SD card, it'll play everything for you.
And Mark, could you just describe, just interrupting there, could you just describe for our listeners what an SD card is? What do you mean by that?
So an SD card is a storage device where you can put it into your computer and then copy your books onto it, or your text files or music, and once you put it into the stream, then the stream will organize it. And it groups it in folders, and you can navigate through the list of books and music on the SD card.
And would you have a preference for using the Victor Reader Stream, Martin, for the audiobooks, or what would be your preference? Have you used anything else, or is that your preference still?
The stream is my preference, but sometimes I use the FlexTalk Pocket. That's another device that I have, and again, I use that mainly for recording, but I would use it for my books. But the stream is probably the one I use a lot, yeah.
And the FlexTalk Pocket, I know that we've used that before as well, but for some of our students maybe listening, it's a good recording device, isn't it? Where you could record lectures, maybe if you're in college and that sort of thing too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is, and it's pocket size, so it's actually smaller and slimmer than the Victor Stream is. And the recording quality is very good on it.
It is very good on it, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And Martin, could you bring us through what a typical day would be for you, you know, from a technology point of view? Like, what would you do? How would technology influence your day?
Okay, so I use a different range of technology. I use the Amazon Echo, and the Amazon Echo is a smart speaker, and what it does is once you get it set up through your Wi-Fi, you can actually speak to it and you can add skills to it. And I use that, and I also use the Google Home Mini. Now again, that's another smart speaker which is connected to Wi-Fi, and once you get it set up, you can control it with your voice. So, and then I use my Windows laptop with JAWS and to read my emails and surf the internet. And last year, I went to the iPhone from a complete button phone straight to a touchscreen phone.
Have you any windows left in the house, Martin?
Yeah, I have. Well, I have to say, like, there is a steep learning curve to the iPhone, but once you get past that, it's absolutely fantastic. And how I use the iPhone, Miriam, is I have a keyboard called the Rivo keyboard, and it has got 20 keys on it, and I can control the whole iPhone with it without touching the touchscreen.
And Martin, you would use this little Rivo keyboard purely because you have a preference for the physical keys. Can you just describe for the viewers who don't know what it is? What size of a keyboard are we talking about, Martin?
Yeah, so the Rivo is credit card size.
Oh, great.
20 keys on it. So going from the left side of the keyboard, you've got L1, L2, L3, L4. And then on the right side, you've got R1, R2, R3, R4. And then in the middle, you have your number pad. So this little keyboard will actually control the whole iPhone. And you can actually answer calls with the Rivo as well and use it as a speaker.
And so if it's only the size of a credit card then, Martin, it's not a bit of grief, is it, to carry it around with you when you have your iPhone anyway, which is probably around the same size?
No, it isn't. It's the same size, yeah. Yeah, it's credit card size. So it's very easy to slip in your pocket and use it. And I find it a big help, especially for typing text messages. Now I know you can use Siri a lot, but if you want to type a message quickly, I use the Rivo, and you can also plug headphones into the Rivo and have VoiceOver speak on the Rivo, so you can use it with headphones as well.
Isn't that great, Martin? It's because you prefer the physical keys. You don't actually need this Rivo to use your iPhone. Isn't that correct? It's just you have a preference for it.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. I have a preference for the physical keys. But using the Rivo since last year, since I got the iPhone, that was a big change for me, going from a button phone straight to the iPhone.
But as you said earlier, the iPhone has quite a steep learning curve when you're coming from the button phones.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But the apps that I use on the iPhone, I use Seeing AI. I use the Lazarillo GPS app. That's a navigation app, and I use Blind Square, and another app that I bought recently was called Just Press Record, where I record things on the iPhone now as well.
Martin, you mentioned there that you have two navigation apps, one called Lazarillo and the other called Blind Square. Do you have a preference as to which one that you would use, or are you using both, or do you keep one just as kind of a backup, or what way do you operate the two apps?
I use Blind Square because there's in the settings you can set Blind Square to chimes, and when you're passing buildings or shops, Blind Square will make a chime to let you know you've passed. So I use Blind Square a lot, and I don't use Lazarillo as much as I used to. Since I got Blind Square, I'm using that. I think it gives you more information. So.
And can you just let us know, Martin, is there a price that you paid for these, or are they free, or can you just explain
the Lazarillo app is free, but Blind Square comes with I think it was around €40, but then you can buy an add-on which is voice tags, and they're around €10, but you don't have to buy them. It's just, you don't have to get them. It's just a premium service, like what the voice tags are that you can, when you use them, you can actually ask Blind Square what's your battery level and all of that, and what's your GPS status and all that sort of thing.
And would you have opted for those, Martin? Do you find they're worth paying for?
I haven't really used them much. I just use them now and again. I've still a good few left. Like I think it was around 770 left. So I really haven't used them that much. I just bought them just to test them out, you know.
And can you just explain to the listeners as well, when you're using these navigation apps, you're still, I presume, using your cane, yeah?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
It's just there's new technologies on the horizon all the time, Martin, being developed. So it's just really to keep us all straight.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
So they're really feeding you a lot of information actually as you're walking around and, you know, navigating your way around, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And can you set up a route? I mean, if you were going from A to B, can you set up the route then and that? And
you can, yeah, you can set routes up, and you can put landmarks in as well. And I find the Lazarillo app very good too. Like I use Google Maps with both the apps. So with Lazarillo, I have my home address in, and when I'm out, I can actually go into my favorites and navigate back to home, and Lazarillo will say to me then when I've arrived home. Now, I haven't done it on Blind Square, I've just done it on Lazarillo, and Lazarillo will say you've arrived at home.
If you had one app that was your favorite, do you have a favorite app that you would use, or even a favorite piece of technology that you would use? Because you have quite a range, Martin. I mean, you've got the Google Home, you've got the Amazon Echo, you know, you've got your Victor Reader Stream, you've the Plex Talk, you've got your computer with JAWS, you've got your iPhone, you're like Inspector Gadget, Martin. Do you have a favorite piece?
I think my favorite piece I'd have to be the iPhone at the moment. Anyway, I'm still learning it, but for all the things you can do on it, like it's just fantastic, and has opened up a whole new world for me. Because I have to admit, Miriam, I tried it 3 times, and I gave up on it. But I decided then the 3rd time I tried it, I said I wasn't going to let it beat me. So
Good on you.
I stuck with it.
And then I suppose, Martin, too, with the background and with all the different devices and all the different learnings, it all helps. You know, people think you have to know everything, but actually it's not a nice way of learning, but the trial and error sometimes helps as well. So with all the things that you've learned, I'm sure that kind of feeds through with the knowledge and, you know, gives you the impetus to keep going as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like having the training from yourself, and then I had training from a guy in the UK called Mo Iqbal. He trained me on Derivo because I bought it through him. So he trained me on Derivo and gave me a good few tips as well with the iPhone. And,
isn't it great? Yeah, because you need a bit of help with, and I would say that with any piece of technology, you know, ask for help. And people are just too delighted to be able to help you anyway if they know how to work it. So I think it's, you know, always ask as well. Martin, I'm just wondering, would you have any piece of advice? I know that we all have to start somewhere in our technical journey, but for someone who's just maybe recently starting out with sight loss, or maybe somebody who has some family member who would like to maybe start in technology, would you have any advice for them?
Well, if they're looking for an easy option to start out with and to read books and stuff, I reckon the Victor Reader Stream would be a very good option for someone that's only starting out or wanting a book player to read your books and stuff, because that's very easy to use. And once you start off with that then and progress like that, then I reckon try the iPhone with the Derivo.
Martin, that's great advice. And listen, thank you so much for joining us today. And can I just say, Martin, before we go, to our listeners in particular, that I know that Martin has not only acquired a range of IT skills, but Martin is one of Ireland's finest ballroom players. And I have this from one of the top guys in Ireland who plays the barrel, Martin. Martin, you don't have the barrel there by any chance, do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Would you play us out? I'll say goodbye, Martin, and would you play us out?
Yeah, I will. So I just do a couple of beats for you, Miriam, yeah.
That's lovely, Martin. And again, Martin, I thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Thanks very much, Miriam.
That's lovely, Martin. Thanks again.
Thanks very much, Miriam.
Very good. So our thanks to Miriam there for gone through the Seeing It Your Way piece with Martin Lawlor this week, and we even got that bonus bit of Bowron playing at the end as well. So if you want to listen back to that interview, you can find that along with the rest of our content on our YouTube channel or the many different podcast platforms that are out there as well. Now finally this week we like to take a minute towards the end of our show each week just to talk to you about some of the feedback that you send in, some of the questions that you might have, or the requests for help that you might have. This week Bob Murphy was in touch to say it's a great job you're doing, lads, keep up the good work. There's certainly plenty for all levels of assistive technology users there. Well, thanks very much for the feedback, Bob, much appreciated. Bob also suggests that we look into a way of collating the tips that are presented in the live events as well as the newsletters into one place to access them. So that's a great suggestion, Bob, and we'll be sure to see if we can find a way of doing that as well. So thanks very much for your suggestion. If anybody has any other suggestions that you'd like to make to us, any feedback that you'd like to give us, or any questions that you'd like covered in our tech help section of our shows each week, please do contact us at labs@ncbi.ie and just reference the live event if you'd like it covered on the show at some point. And of course, you can always contact the Labs team anyway on 1850 92 30 60 if you need assistance with any of your devices, any technology, and of course the Labs email address labs@ncbi.ie, or if you want to contact NCBI in general for the wider services, it's 1850 33 43 53 or email info@ncbi.ie. And of course, if you'd like to make a donation to support our services and also to keep the live events running as well, you can visit donate.ncbi.ie. That's donate.ncbi.ie, or you can even sponsor one of our live events by contacting us at labs@ncbi.ie as well. Now, just before we go, just a little bit of a heads up about what's coming up in future weeks. So next week, we're going to be talking about what you need to know about the Black Friday sale. So every year we've got the Black Friday sale that comes up. Well, it's useful to get a bit of information on that, and maybe even just a sense of what to keep an eye out for, particularly this year as well. And of course, we have our Meet the Team piece as well. This time we're going to be talking to Joel Lonergan about his role in NCBI. Joel will be well known to you if you've been a regular listener to our live events, of course, as well. So tune in to hear a little bit more from Joe next week. And in a future event as well, we're going to be comparing various casting devices, TV devices, Fire Sticks and Chromecasts, etc. So keep tuned into our live events for a discussion of that. Just a reminder that our next live event is next week, so that's November 24th at our usual time of 2:30. And if you want to keep up to date with what's happening in technology and in the Labs team as well, in our live events as well, then you can subscribe to our newsletter on our website, or you can email us at labs@ncbi.ie if you'd like to make sure to keep up to date with what's happening through our newsletter. So that's about it for our show today. We've enjoyed being able to bring you the show today and to be able to talk to Javier as well. And our thanks to Mary for joining us on the show today, and our thanks to our usual team of Sean, JP and Daniel as well. And we look forward to having everybody back with us next week for another NCBI Labs live event.